Hello, let's see, Frisbom Smith. How you doing? Hello, I see you're the only one online right now. This is an impromptu live stream that I thought that I'd do just to see if some of those that aren't able to make the Friday live streams wanted to hop on in. So if you're lurking in the background, come on in the chats, say hello. We'll talk about a few things, especially talk about how it is that you need to prepare for whatever it may be now, ladies and gentlemen. Times are getting a little bit frisky as far as our geopolitics goes around the world. So let me go ahead and wait a couple of minutes. Maybe it'll just be you and me, Frizz. Would that be cool or what? Raven P is here. How you doing, Raven P? Good to see you. Sabarina, how are you? All the way from Houston, Texas. I hear you all are having a little bit of cold weather down in the lower 48s. I think you're having colder weather than I am up here. Right now it's what? Where's my whatchamacallit that has my temperature on it? See if I can find it. It's got to be around here somewhere. Oh, I don't see it. But right now it's about 30 degrees outside, which is really warm for this time of year, to tell you the truth. Just cold enough for the snow to stick, though. So let's see who else is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand this is an impromptu live stream. I figured I'd come on and check the systems and everything in 1 hour at 3 p.m. Alaska time. And I'll probably repeat this or say this over again 2 or 3 times during the live stream. But at 3 p.m. Alaska time, we're going to go over to Grayman Prepping's channel. Grayman and I are collaborating on a new live episode that we're going to do. We're wondering whether we should do it weekly or every other week, but we'll talk about that when we go onto his channel. Those of you that want to follow me over there to his channel at 3 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I pretty much came on here to just talk to you all, chit chat a little bit. Every once in a while, I do like to do an impromptu live stream during like the middle of the week or so, or an odd day that I normally don't do a live stream. That way, those of you that maybe are not able to join us on our regular live stream days, which is usually Fridays and every once in a while Sundays, can maybe join in and maybe do a little fellowshipping with everyone else from the AP community that can be here. So let me say hello to Mayan Mom. How you doing? Mark Gutierrez. How you doing, Mark? Nature Coast Prepping. Troll is here. Good to see you, Troll. Let's see. Reds Mom 60. How are you? YTU is in the house. How you doing, YTU? Florida Boy Shuffle. How you doing? A Cowboys hippie life. Good to see you. Let me see. Oh, look at that. That there. Well, I can't see it very well, but it almost looks like the shield for the first of the 508th. Let's see. My eyes are not very good, but that almost looks like the shield for the first of the 508th from 82nd Airborne, 4th BCT. But again, my eyes are not that very good, so can't see it that good. Butch Graves, but anyways, Cold Cernic, how are you doing? Butch Graves, Melissa, our home of two, Gina, Siska, how you doing? Neve and James, how are you doing? Good to see you. Trouble Bear Stetter, how you doing from Eastern Washington? Be anxious for nothing. 1G, how are you? The Redneck Prepper is in the house. How you doing? Max Havoc, all the way from Mississippi or South Mississippi. Mary Beth G, Jose Salas. How are you doing, Jose? That's, let me see, where's Jose? Um, uh, Saludo, Jose, igualmente. I just met a Jose at a restaurant here last weekend. Very nice gentleman that followed, that is part of the AP community. And there's Yarn Prepper. Yarn Prepper made it. How you doing, Yarn Prepper? I know this was impromptu. I know how my mods love impromptu live streams. Douglas Kuhn, how are you doing? Storm Weather, how you doing? James Henley. Forrest is in the house. How you doing, Forrest? Let's see. Well, we have a few of you. I didn't expect that too many people to show up because, again, impromptu. I didn't give any forward warning that we're going to have a live stream today. But I do want to talk about something. Let me check something here. I think I missed something. Yeah, it's a family crest. Man, I'll tell you what, I wish that I had my first of the 508th crest here because it looks similar to that. Very nice. How you doing, Angela? Jane? Let's see. D Mark, Annie, how you doing? Let me see. Let me stop looking down and see if I can look at you all a little bit better instead of just looking down. There you go. That's going to be a little bit better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that may have missed it, I went ahead and posted it on my community page at 3 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be doing a live stream with Gray Man over at Gray Man Prepping. It's something that we're going to start doing, a collaboration that we're going to start doing possibly weekly, but for sure at least every other week, where him and I are going to collaborate on each video, and we'll just take it up the episodes for however long it lasts. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. And the way that this came about, that Gray Man and myself decided to do this, to do like a collaboration video once a week or once every other week, we still have to figure that out, is that we're pretty good friends, off camera. And whenever we talk, we always talk about the most interesting things. And at the end of our conversations, which are usually at least a good half hour to an hour long, we always say, one or the other always says, man, we should have recorded that conversation. It would have made a great podcast. So I was like, hey, why don't we do this? Once a week or once every other week, just hang out with the folks and have them join in on our conversations that we have. So that's how it came about. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I think it'll be another day that we can all hang out together, within our communities. So hope to see you all there. I left a link on my community page. And if one of our moderators, Yarn Prepper, if you can go over to my community page and grab that link and post it up here, if you can. I'm not sure if you're on your phone or a computer or not. Some things are easier than others. But if you can post it up here, that'd be great. If you can, I understand. No big deal. Let's see. Mario, how you doing, Mario? Good Eats is in the house. Dingus Chubb is here. Teresa D. Let's see. Teresa D says, man, it's cold outside and inside. I'll tell you what, it is warm today. In the bunker, it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty warm. I usually keep it a little bit cooler than this. I've been averaging around 55 degrees in the bunker Fahrenheit. And outside it's like 30 degrees. So it's a really warm day today. So we can talk about anything you want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. We do have limited time today. We only have until 3 p.m. my time. So about another 45, 50 minutes or so that I can set up for our other live stream with Gray Man. So ask anything that you may have on your mind. And I can go ahead and expand a little bit on the title of this live stream, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to have, look, you would have to have been following me for a long time to understand the background on why I believe that there has to be a very big event that occurs. And I'll try to cover that very, very quickly. Now, our government has gotten itself into what's a catch-22. Meaning that, or in other words, between a rock and a hard place, right? Kind of like the same thing. Meaning that no matter what they do, they are still in bad shape as far as being able to keep control of the people. Because once people don't have the availability that they normally have to resources, and that could be anything, that can be food, that can be fuel, that can be heat in your home, water. Once people don't have the regular availability that they are used to having to those resources, they become very angry, and they usually blame it on government. All right. Even though I don't feel like it's government's place or responsibility to take care of anyone, people have been conditioned for the most part. And I have to say that because a lot of times I get people that get triggered saying, I wouldn't get conditioned. I don't want anything for the government. I understand. For the most part, ladies and gentlemen, throughout society, for the most part, people have been conditioned to think that the government is supposed to be there for you. First of all, the government is not supposed to be there for you, okay? The government's primary duty, all right, are a few, in my opinion. One of them being to secure our borders. The other one being to make sure that they can arbitrate, I guess you can say, between states if there's any problem between states. And the other one being, of course, to make sure that they have the judicial system that allows us to be as free as we can be. But if we have grievances, that we can settle our grievances within that judicial system using the rule of law, right? But governments around the world, not only ours, have gotten away from freedom. And instead, they've enslaved their populations via fiat currencies. So being that the cycle or the end of this fiat currency, i.e. the Federal Reserve note, what people call dollars or money, be it that this fiat currency's cycle is almost over, then the government has to come up with some other ways that it will be able to manipulate the population into thinking that government is the solution and thinking that they need government. So, what is that? How is that? Well, you create a crisis. It's something that's been used for a very long time. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. And the Hegelian dialectic states that the government will either create a crisis, all right? Just like, remember, you all, and I would like you to look this up on your own time or on your time, if you have a chance or if you're interested. But when people hear others talk like I just did, when I say, well, government will create a crisis, they're like, are you crazy, AP? The government's not going to do anything that's going to hurt the people on purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, if that's what you think, you're very naive. And let me explain to you why. Just one example. Look up Operation, I believe the name of it is called Operation Northwood. Right? It's an operation, a secret plan that was being worked out by the, I believe, FBI and CIA within our government back in the 60s when President Kennedy was still alive. And this Operation Northwood had a plan to go as far as taking down one of our commercial aircrafts, commercial airplanes, and then blame it on Cuba so that we would be justified into invading Cuba, right? This is a real thing. This is public record. This is something that the government actually was considering. Now, President Kennedy didn't go with it. He said, absolutely not, we're not going to do it. But the three-letter agencies within the government were ready to go forward with it had he approved that, right? So again, Hegelian dialectic, you either create a situation, an event, create something, a crisis, be it create it or be it or take advantage of it. Like, for example, what was it? Hurricane Katrina, I think it was, back in Louisiana. That, in my opinion, and the reason I say my opinion is because I don't know if it was a created thing, but it was definitely a crisis that was taken advantage of by the government, right? Remember what they did within the population in Louisiana during the floods back there during Hurricane Katrina? They started taking away people's what? Second Amendment, taking away people's guns. And unfortunately, it's a litmus test that the population failed in that area, right? I'm not saying that they were wrong in turning in their firearms to the police or law enforcement at that time because I wasn't there. I wasn't going through what they were going through, right? So I can't say anything about that. But in my opinion, that was a litmus test to see how far they can take the population as far as taking away firearms during a crisis or a big event, right? So they either create a crisis or they take advantage of a crisis, and then they see how the population reacts to that crisis. And then, depending on how the population reacts, they will offer the population a way to fix it, a solution. And normally, that solution that they offer the population is a solution that will advance their agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I say that we have to prepare for the next event, for a huge event, that's what I mean, the Hegelian dialectic. Because the next big event that occurs, I see the government trying to do a couple of things. One, obviously, what they're always trying to do, and it's something that we have to remember as a people, as we the people, that we can never, ever give up. And that's take away our Second Amendment. Try to create some kind of a crisis where people are saying, yes, here, take it, because these things are so dangerous. That's one thing they're going to try to do. And the second thing, and this is my opinion, the second thing is they're going to try to usher us into the using of a CBDC, a centrally banked digital currency. And why is that? For the main reason why I told you that there has to be an event. We are almost to the end of this financial system. It can't go that much longer. The only way that it can go longer where the government stays in control is if they issue a CBDC. And this, ladies and gentlemen, if you love your way of life, if you love that you live in a country, especially if you live here in the United States of America, where I would say it's still above the top freest nations in the world, with as many liberties as they've trampled on in the last several decades, we are still amongst one of the freest nations in the world, ladies and gentlemen. So if you love freedom, if you want your children to be able to live a life where they don't have to be beholden to a higher authority, i.e. government, in order so that they can get food in order so that they can get housing, in order so that they can just go and put gas in their vehicle, then we must get prepared. And why is that? Because being prepared with everything that you need, being prepared, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is one of the very best ways to resist tyranny. Why? Because with tyranny, you have to be able to not use your no muscle. With tyranny, if you give up the Second Amendment, you can't use your no muscle. With tyranny, if you're not prepared because you're starving and your children are starving, you have to give up your no muscle. You can't say no. But those who are prepared, not only with the Second Amendment, all right, obviously, but with everything that you need in order to, let's say, stay in your house for 6 months or 2 months or 1 month, however long you think is appropriate for you. If you are prepared to stay in your house for long term, that means that your no muscle is active. You can use your no muscle because when they tell you, hey, if you take this juicy juice, you'll be able to keep your job. But if you don't take this juicy juice, you're out of here. You can say, I'm out of here. I've got plenty of preps put away to last 6 months, and I've got an emergency fund put aside for instances just like this. That's what being prepared allows you to do. A couple of things. It allows you to maintain your standard of living, and it allows you to use your no muscle when someone is trying to bully you because they think that they have the upper hand. That's what I mean, that you have to be prepared for the next event. Because, ladies and gentlemen, something that I've learned in my short life, and I'm only a bicentennial or a half centurion, right? Bicentennial, not bicentennial. I'm not 200 years old. A half centurion. For those of you that are new here, you'll get used to my follow-ups when I'm talking. All right. So I'm only 50, I think I'm 52, 51 or 52, something like that. Years old, ladies and gentlemen. And I've seen in the last several decades, I've seen it with my own eyes. And we are going to witness something and go through something that, in my opinion, I'm not a prophet. I don't have a crystal ball and I can't tell the future. But in my opinion, through studying history, it's going to be something that happens fast. It's going to be something that doesn't give you too much time to get prepared if you're not already prepared. So are you up on your fuel? Do you have enough fuel to maybe fill up each of your vehicles once or twice? Do you have enough fuel to keep your home warm this winter should something happen where we cannot allocate more oil from countries that don't like us? Ladies and gentlemen, do you have that squared away? Do you have, at the very minimum, a small gasoline or propane or natural gas, whatever your favorite flavor is, flavor of the day, generator? An internal combustion generator. Yes, look, I've got a whole bunch of solar generators. I love solar generators. But I would never ask you to purchase a solar generator unless you already have an internal combustion engine generator, meaning a gas generator that takes some kind of a fuel. And the reason I say that is because you can control how much fuel you put away for emergencies, but you cannot control whether the sun is going to shine today or tomorrow. That you can't control. You can't control the weather. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I would always say get a gas generator first. A solar generator is a great complement to a gas generator. I would always recommend that you get a solar generator if you already have a gas generator because they complement each other very well. And more than likely, you will have some sun during the day, whether it's a lot or not a lot, depends on the weather, but you'll still have some, and you'll be able to get some energy from the sun, depending on how much there is. So you'll always be able to count on a little bit, at least, to keep the lights on. But a regular gasoline generator, in my opinion, very important to have that first and foremost before you go any other route. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I say that you need to stay prepared. Stay prepared, help your neighbors prepare, help your family prepare, because it's what's going to get us through to the next era. I would say the next era of time. You see, I believe that this era of time that we're in, we're towards the end of this empire. Not only this empire here in the United States of America, but I believe that in other countries as well. I would say that China's getting close towards the end of their empire as well, because we have so many cycles of so many things coming together at the same time. Okay. And this is probably going to be one of the most important times, I would say, the next 10 years or so in our lifetime, right? In our lifetime and the lifetimes, believe it or not, of our children and their children and their children, probably for the next 3 to 4 generations. I think that once we make it through this tough period, the next 7 to 10 years, I would say, more like 10 years, that the next several generations are going to be a lot better off than what the generation that's growing up now is. But we just have to make it through. And that's what preparedness is about, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let me go ahead and tell you all. I see that there's a few more of you that have joined in. First of all, thank you for joining in. And just in case you didn't catch it in the beginning, the reason that I'm doing this impromptu live stream is mainly to talk to you all about what I just went over, but also because I like to do an impromptu live stream every once in a while during a day that I normally don't have a live stream, so that those of you that cannot join in, usually on our Friday live streams and or Sundays once in a while, that you can maybe join in now and you can hang out for a little bit. I also wanted to tell you all that after this live stream, let's see, in another 39 minutes or so, I'm going to be jumping over to Grayman Prepping's channel, and we're going to be doing a collaboration there, Grayman Prepping and myself. And it's something that we're going to do on a regular basis. And we're doing it today for the very first time. And then we're going to start doing it, I believe it's every other Sunday or so, or if it takes off, maybe every Sunday. All right, so one Sunday it'll be on Grayman's channel, and one Sunday it'll be on my channel. Today we're doing it on Tuesday, obviously, so that we can introduce it to everyone and see how everybody likes it and likes the idea of what we're going to be doing. All right, so hopefully a lot of you, if not most of you, will jump over to Grayman's channel after this live stream. And I do have the link to that on my community page. So if you go to my community page, the link to that live stream should be there. All you got to do is click on it and put notify me, or just click on it and stay there on a different page. Right. Let's go ahead and say hello to a few more of you that I might have missed. And if you do have any questions, anything that you want to share with the community, go ahead and put it in all caps, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully I'll be able to catch it. All right. Disabled and Prepping, how are you doing? Good to see you. Well, Nevaeh and James, thank you very much for hanging out with us and hanging out with your mom as well. Let's see. Raven P, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Well, Raven P, right now, right now my heater's on low. It's like on the lowest setting. So it's about halfway through the lowest setting. So it's not very high. And like I said, it's 60 degrees inside the bunker right now. And that for me is too warm. So I've got this jacket on. It's a little too warm for me at 60 degrees. So I'm pretty comfortable at about 55 degrees or so. Yeah, even indoors. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking for any questions that you may have, okay? Let's see. Okay. I'm really far behind too because I talk too much. Hey, Big Chap, how are you? So good to see you. Blessings to you, my blessings to you as well, my friend. It's good to see you. Justin Winch. Justin Winch, actually, you have. Oh, okay. You were talking to CP. My question is, well, you have a question. My question is, most of America really able to deal with hard situations like no power, water, food for more than 2 months? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, it's not something that I like to say absolutely not about, but absolutely not. I don't think that most of Americans are able to survive 2 months without electricity. Just electricity takes care of everything, because without electricity, you have no water. Without electricity, you have no fuel. You have no food. You have no internet. Without electricity, you pretty much have nothing, ladies and gentlemen. So think about it. Think about it for yourselves. Let's say you are the most prepared prepper out there. Even the most prepared prepper without electricity is going to have to work a little bit harder than normal, right? To keep all the systems running, to make sure that you have either enough fuel or enough power generation or whatever, right? So now imagine your average person who's living behind rose-colored glasses, who maybe, if they're lucky, has a gas generator with maybe a 5-gallon can of gas. So think about it that way. No, most of Americans are not ready, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe that here in the last 3 years, one of the good things that came from this health crisis is that a lot of people became aware of what prepping is and a lot of people started to prepare as well. So here in the last few years, I think that we've probably doubled the number of people that would call themselves preppers, right? Maybe not all to the same extent, meaning that maybe, like, for example, myself, I believe you should have at least 1 year supply of food for you and your family, right? Well, most people, maybe now they have a month's worth of food or 2 months worth of food, maybe 6 months worth of toilet paper, etc., right? But that's better than not having it whatsoever. We will have a lot of lost lives. Whenever this next big event happens, an event where I think it will be either a catastrophic power grid failure, or a war of some kind, or some kind of a really big attack within the U.S. to our infrastructure, or a monetary collapse, all of those are going to affect resources. Think about it. A war will affect our resources. Remember the last World War? People were being rationed, okay? And a lot of people were going hungry. A financial collapse will affect resources. I would say more so than a world war. Because nobody works for free, ladies and gentlemen. As godly and as good Americans we may think that we are, people are not going to work for free. They're not going to exchange their labor for nothing, at least what they think is nothing. All right. And people may want to say, yes, but we'll cooperate with each other and things like that. When it comes down to it, people want to be able to trade value for value. All right. They're not going to trade value for nothing. And that's going to be the problem. Same thing with other nations. If we have a big financial collapse, something happens to our dollar, whatever it may be, do you think that other nations are going to sell us stuff for paper that they know is no good? Think about what we've been getting away with for the past several decades. What, 6 decades now, I think? Or 5 decades? Yeah, a little over 5 decades, where we have been exporting mainly paper and getting back real stuff. All those trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that exist as debt out there because of the money that we have to borrow every year because of our deficit. That deficit that we add on to every year, a lot of that deficit is from money that we paid to countries for the stuff that they sold us. So in other words, they got paper for stuff that we got that's real stuff. Do you think that when people or other countries stop accepting that paper, that we're going to be able to just all of a sudden be able to make some other kind of paper to get stuff again? No, we're going to have to go back to some kind of a commodity-based currency. And since most Americans don't have any real money put away, i.e. gold, silver, food, right? Goods, durable goods, consumables, since most Americans don't have a lot of their wealth put away in commodities, durable goods, consumables, all they have is paper, then most Americans are going to be screwed, to tell you the truth. Why? Because how are they going to be able to afford the things that they need? And who are they going to go to for help? You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to go to the government. Pretty much the same entity that has caused the devaluation of our dollar to be as great as it has been. And it's just the way it's always worked. And it's going to work the same way again. Unfortunately, I was having a discussion with my wife this morning saying, but we can change things. And my wife was telling me, and she's probably listening to this right now, I was just like, but we can change things little by little. I'm like, it's not that I'm not optimistic. I am an optimist by nature, but you all know, if you've been following me for a while, that I'm a cycles guy. It's a cycle. There's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it for it not to happen. It's going to happen. The end of empires happen every so often. It's a cycle. The end of monetary systems happen every so often. It's a cycle, ladies and gentlemen, especially fiat currency monetary systems. The war cycles occur. It's a cycle. About every 80 to 100 years, we have a major war. And our last one was in the 40s. About every 60 years or so, we have major civil disruptions, civil unrest. Wow, what do you guys think happened around the 60s in the United States? Major civil unrest, right? Well, what's 60 plus 60? We're in the 20s now, right? 1960s plus 60, we're in the 2020s now. What are we having now? Major civil unrests, you know, violent protests. We're having people go out there with pew-pews and, expiring a lot of folks that are innocent. It's all a cycle, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I say that you must prepare, because no matter how good things look to where you are, you just don't know what's going to happen the next day. And being prepared is just the best way to go. And when I say being prepared, I don't mean to cram every nook and cranny in your house with stuff, with just stuff, right? No, incorporate it into your lifestyle. If you like to eat spaghetti and you eat 1 pound of spaghetti a month, then get 12 pounds of spaghetti and put it in your pantry. Guess what? That's a year's worth of spaghetti, if that's how much you eat. But you get to do the math, all right? Because everyone is different. We must be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, because whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and we're not going to stop it. We're not going to be able to stop whatever's coming at all. We're not going to be able to stop it. The only change that we will be able to make, in my opinion, is change within ourselves, within our families, within our communities, and try to help other people wake up to that they need to be prepared. But it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to change the fact that the government of the United States of America and other Western nation governments, and not even Western nation governments in general, you're not going to change the fact that they're going to take us to war. If they want to take us to war, they are going to take us to war. And it doesn't matter how much I sit here and scream out the top of my lungs that war brings nothing but sorrow, that war is a rich man's game that makes the rich richer, makes the poor poorer, and brings nothing but sorrow. It doesn't matter. It's still going to be a war if they want there to be a war. Think about it. Anyone here tell me that they can stop this thing that's going on in the Middle East from happening on a personal basis, even on a community-wide basis? You're not going to stop it. That's why I say get prepared. It's not because I'm pessimistic. I'm an optimistic person by nature for the future, but this war cycle that we've entered, it's going to end in war, just like it has every other time. Same thing with every other cycle. Let's see. Well, what time is it? I got to keep my eyes on the time, ladies and gentlemen, because I will be getting off of here probably about 5 minutes to 3. All right, my time. I'll be getting out of here about 5 minutes to 3 p.m. my time, or 5 minutes to 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I will be heading over to Grayman Prepping's channel, where we are going to have a collaboration live stream that we will be doing on a regular basis from now on. This is going to be our very first one. So if you have a little bit of time and want to hang out a little more after this, in about 30 minutes or so, we'll be over on Grayman Prepping's channel so that we can do our collab. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Grayman and I always have pretty good conversations. And one of the good things about the collab that we're doing is I told Grayman, I said, listen, Grayman, you're an awesome interviewer. You're a great interviewer. So I really like how when he has people that he interviews, man, he's so good at it. It's like he was made to do that, right? Or that's one of his very good qualities as far as standing in front of or sitting in front of a camera. So I said, why don't we just talk about something that I don't want to know what you want to talk about. I say, you can bring up some subject matters and I don't want to know what it is that you're going to talk about. I want it to be fresh. That way it can be an honest reaction and then we can have a good conversation. Just like when we talk on the phone, he doesn't give me a list of the things he wants to talk to me about when we talk on the phone and have a conversation. And it always ends up being a great conversation. So I was like, this is going to be a lot of fun doing it with you all, hanging out with us. So hope to see you there in about another, 25 minutes or so. Let's see. Again, if you do have any questions or comments that you want to share with the community, put it in all caps and I will try to catch it. Right now, I'm about 15 or 20 minutes behind. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. If I see anything that looks like a question, I'll go ahead and stop and answer it. Mark Brimmer, how you doing? Do you get many kids? No. We live in an area where it's not like regular traffic, so we don't get kids coming around asking for treats. My wife and I did go and had our teacher conference today for our daughter. And I'm happy to report that our daughter is an awesome student, according to her teachers, that is. Look at this, JD Lunt. How are you doing, JD? It's good to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Very good to see you. I hope you're doing well. See, that's what I like about doing a live stream every once in a while on days that I don't normally do them. Don Quest, how you doing? Surviving behind liberal lines. Good to see you. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Yarn Prepper says, remind people that if they have a capless gas tank, they need extra funnel to fill from a gas can. Good point. So yeah, and that's one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, you should have these things. Like look for an extra funnel. Have at least one extra. You know my model. My model is one is none, two is one. But man, 27 is just so much better. So go get your 27 funnels. I'm just kidding. Get whatever you think you need, but make sure that you have these little things. And these are things that right now you can probably still get at a pretty decent price. You know, things like funnels and things like that. I honestly believe, I mean, ask yourselves, do you really believe that if we get into some kind of a kinetic conflict in the Middle East, let's say that the United States of America gets involved in a kinetic conflict in the Middle East, meaning that we're part of it, right? And at the same time, we're proxying Ukraine, right? Do you really believe that if that happens, that China's not going to take Taiwan? And do you really believe that if China takes Taiwan, what's the U.S. government going to do? They're going to sanction the heck out of China. But then what's going to happen is that China's going to say, oh, you want to sanction us? Okay, we're sending you nothing. Pharmaceuticals, rare earth metals, ladies and gentlemen, you know, those are two of the things that we get from China that we really depend on. And do you really think that we're going to get any uranium from Russia? That's one of the things that really has me curious as to if they're all on this together, right? Because, for example, if you're against a country and supposedly we're against Russia and Russia's against us, well, then why does Russia sell us uranium? We get about 50% of our uranium here in the United States from Russia. I believe you can check me on those numbers, but I believe we get like 50% of our uranium that we need from Russia, and we buy it from them and they sell it to us. Well, if they hate us so much and we hate them so much, and I mean governments, right? Then why in the world are they doing business together? If Russia's the devil to us and we're the devil to them, why do we still share a space station? So, do you really think that if we did get into a conflict in the Middle East and China wanted to stop sending us the stuff that they send us, that they wouldn't just stop? I believe that they would stop in an instant. And overnight, the shelves would be bare. Overnight. All right, ladies and gentlemen? And that's why you get those things now. Well, we shouldn't be buying stuff from China anyways, AP. Guaranteed one day we won't have to because we won't be able to. So get the stuff that you need now. Yes, eventually we will be bringing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Eventually, ladies and gentlemen, we will be able to buy that Maytag that we used to buy that's made here in the US. We will one day, but it's not now. And it's going to take years before we can actually do that. Before we get back to the early 1990s and before, when most of the things used to be made here in the United States, it's going to take years before we can do that. All right, because the damage is too great as far as how many jobs we've lost and how many manufacturing plants have gone overseas. They have to be rebuilt. The investment has to be made. It has to actually be done. The political will has to be there in order to support the companies that want to build here. And by the political will, I mean that, you know, how much support are companies going to get from any administration when we're still dealing with this green thing, you know, with this green thing that is never going to work. Guaranteed. I will bet you a silver dollar that this green thing is never going to work. Why? Because we don't have the resources to power the world with solar panels. We don't have the resources to power the world with windmills. We may have the resources to power the world with nuclear plants, but even that which is the greenest form of energy that there's a war against. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a long time before we actually do bring manufacturing 100% back to the U.S. So get the stuff that you need now, if you can. Let's see. Just Arizona, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Where are we at now? We're okay. I have to keep my eyes on the time so I don't forget. Cuba Bound, how are you? Good to see you, Cuba. Good to see you. Lulu, how are you? War Fox, how you doing? Good to see you. NW Prep Girl, nice to see you. John Lies, how are you? Let's see. Yes, Justin, yes. I think 7 days is doable. AP, do you think most Americans can deal with 7 days no water, power, or food? I think 7 days is doable. And the reason I think that is, well, it depends what time of the year it is. Okay. So I would say it depends what time of the year it is. All right. And I'm assuming if it's a power outage that lasts 7 days, I'm assuming that like emergency systems would still be available, like government systems, be it state, be it city, right? That those systems will still be available. So depending on what time of the year it is, where you live, then yes, I think 7 days is doable. Especially, no one is going to starve from not eating for 7 days. Okay, the water, that may be a problem, but again, as long as big systems are available, like from government, like from corporations, you know what I mean? If it's only a 7 day outage, I'm guessing that soda plants that make soda pop, right? That they can convert over to filling the cans with water. You know what I mean? But if they're on their own, I would say some will perish, of course, but not nearly as many. I think you really start getting serious after a month. I think that a month into a power outage, let's say an EMP, let's just pick that. Let's say a month into an EMP that took out the grid completely, I think that's when you're going to see your very first level of a very big die off. All right. And then after that, it's going to be die off after die off after die off, because you're going to have a die off from starvation. You'll have a die off from violence. You'll have a die off from disease. You'll have a die off from weather. So you'll have different levels of a mass of people dying off from a population. So, those are all the things you have to think about. And usually the disease die off doesn't happen until you have a big die off, right, of people, and not enough people to bury them. And then comes the disease from all of the corpses that are laying around. And I know it sounds kind of nasty and it sounds kind of gloomy and doomy, but it's just the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, there's Copernicus. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see. Yeah, I think so, because if we go to war, yes. So just for those that are not watching, do you think that the ammo situation in America is going to get bad again, like COVID days? I think that if we do have some kind of a kinetic engagement where we're actively involved, and we need that ammo for the troops, that yes, we could. But then again, you have to remember that the government in the last several years has purchased trillions of rounds of ammunition. So they have a very good stockpile of like 5.56, 9 mil, 40, and I'm not sure, 45 maybe. I'm not sure what other regular calibers the military uses. I'm sure they use some calibers that we don't really use or know about, because maybe for some of their special forces. But yeah, it could very likely be that we have a big shortage. So guess what? Make sure you stock up on that stuff. For everyone it's different, but the rule that I follow is for like handguns. If you have a handgun, I would personally have like 1,000 rounds per handgun. So if I have three handguns, then there are three of those handguns are all 9 millimeters. I have at least eight magazines per handgun, and then I would have at least 1,000 rounds per handgun, right, that you own. For a rifle, same thing, at least I would say eight minimum, so one in and seven, uh, or up to 10, at least 10, I would say, eight minimum magazines for a rifle, with about 2 to 3,000 rounds per rifle. That's just it's like the rule of thumbs that I follow, but I didn't get that from anywhere. All right. All I know is that a combat load in the military is about 210 to 300 rounds for your rifle, and then it's like 45 rounds for your sidearm, which isn't really that much. So I figure that as long as you have enough put away for like between 5 to 10 battles, then you should be good to go. Uh, Good question, Kevin. How much gas is it safe to store in a garage and what type of container? I personally would not recommend storing gasoline in a garage. I personally don't recommend it, especially if it's attached to your domicile. If the garage is attached to your house, I would not recommend storing any gasoline in your garage at all. If it's a detached garage that's away from your house, I may consider it. But what I've done personally is I built what I call my little fuel depot, which is just a little plastic shed that is the farthest structure away from my house. So it's, I don't know, I would say between 100 or 150 feet away from my house. It's the farthest part of my property that's away from my house. And I've got that fuel depot. I put enough gasoline in it to fill each of my vehicles at least one time, and then to run my generators for about a month or so if I had to. And when I say to run my generators for about a month or so, I don't mean to run my gas generators for a month straight, continuous. I mean that I would use my solar generators as a complement to my gas generators and use the power from my solar and then use my gas generators to power up or to charge up my solar generators. Because that way you're not wasting energy. Whenever you have a gas generator running, let's say 24 hours a day, you're not using all of that energy that you're expending from that generator, right? But with a solar generator, you're using exactly what you need when you need it. And then with a gas generator, you can turn it on for 2 or 3 hours, however long it is, to fill up or to charge up your solar generator. And that way you're really using exactly what it is that you need instead of wasting energy like that. So I figure that about between 1.5 gallon to 3/4 of a gallon a day is what it would take me to run everything that I need in my house if I had a gas generator that's powering a solar generator if I didn't have any sunlight whatsoever. So you see, you have to do these experiments yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Like, how many of you know that you actually save gasoline if you use your generator to power your solar generator, especially if you have a fast charging solar generator? Right? You can actually save gasoline by doing that because you're not wasting energy by just having the generator running. So do these experiments on your own. That way you know. I know that between 1/2 gallon of gas to 3/4 of a gallon of gas a day will keep my essentials running in my house if I didn't have any sun whatsoever. Right? So you have to figure that out on your own, how much you will need. Really? Forrest says, today I heard that Yemen declared war on Israel. Man, I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't been on the news today, really. So if they did, it's just, I don't understand why if they did. Because from what I understand, Yemen, first of all, is kind of like a failed state because they've been having their asses handed to them by Saudi Arabia for years now. All of those weapons that we sell to Saudi Arabia, they've ended up in Yemen, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been a massacre. I don't even know how they have the gumption to want to fight with anyone else. So, no, I haven't heard of that, but pretty interesting that they did, if they actually did. Incredible. What I say, we're getting into a major war cycle, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a cycle. YTU says, my company has several retirement plans. I have them all in one. One is completely optional. Well, if you have a retirement plan with your company, YTU, and you're still actively employed in that company, then they're not going to let you take the money out. The only thing, now, this is my opinion. I have to say this because I'm on the internet and I'm a financial advisor, right? But this is just from what I understand. If you have like a 401k or an IRA or something like that through your company, you're actively employed, you're not going to be able to get that money out. The only thing that you would be able to do is take a loan out against that money if you have enough money in there. Right? That's the only thing you'll be able to do. The only way that you'll be able to get that money out effectively is if you retire or quit and you want to get your money out of there with a penalty, or if you're 59 and a half or older, you can take your money out and you will have a tax implication on that money that you take out, unless you're taking money out from a Roth IRA. Okay, so yeah, I hope that answered your question, but they really don't have to let you take anything out. I don't even think that they can let you take money out because it's not up to them. It's just the law. Hey, Derek, how you doing? Good to see you. How's the wifey doing? Let us know. APN community. Oh, snowy day today, huh? Bless you as well, brother. What time is it? Okay, 10 minutes to go. Fred Derby, how you doing? Good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes to go. That means that I've only got 5 minutes left with you here. However, in case you just joined in, let me say one more time before we sign off. At 3 p.m. Alaska time, so in about 10 minutes, 9 minutes, I'm going to be going live with Gray Man Prepping over at his channel. If you have never visited his channel, go to my community page. I left a link there for our live stream. This is going to be a collaboration that Grayman and myself are going to be doing either on the weekly or either on the every other week basis. But we're going to see how it goes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you want to head over there after this live stream, it's going to be episode number 1. So if you want to join in on episode number 1 of Live with Gray and AP, and I forgot what it is that we're calling it, but it's going to be a live stream with him and myself every time that we do it. Go on over there. Again, the link is on my community page, or go to Grayman Prepping's channel, and you should see that he's going to have a live stream starting in about 5-10 minutes or so. All right, so I'm going to rush my way down. Keisha Wagner, hello. Squirrel, how are you doing? Rush my way down here, see if I can catch any last-minute questions. Let me see. Anything that's in all caps, I'll try to catch real quick, like really quick. This is like the speed round, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Lisa Foster asks, Rudy, where do you store your extra batteries? Here you go. Do I have it here? Where is it? Battery caddy. I have about 3 of these, and they're all full. I think this is a very safe way to store your batteries because it doesn't let the batteries touch each other or anything like that. And it keeps them from getting banged around. That's where I keep them. And I do have a few packs where I don't have a battery caddy for them yet, but they do have these on sale right now on Costco. So if you have a Costco near you, they have them on sale for like $5 off. Actually, I should go pick me up a couple more because those are very nice to have. All right. All right. So that was it. Good question. Let me see. Melanie White, how are you? I purchased silver 2 days ago. Wasn't much, but I finally got silver. Hey, slow and steady wins the race, Melanie. Congratulations on your first silver purchase. That is awesome. All right. Congratulations. Okay. I don't know how to do that, Justin. I don't know how to port you all to the next show from this. Maybe I ought to learn how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I am not technically sound at all. All right, let's bring it on down. Okay. Okay, let's see what time. All right, we're gonna have to sign off here. Let me go ahead and say thank you very much to Kevin. Thanks for all the thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And well, here we go. The Houthis in Yemen. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Yemen thing, but thank you, Arheath. Thank you very much for all your support. But yeah, the Houthis in Yemen. I don't know what's going on with that Yemen thing, but man, it surprises me that they would be picking a fight when they're in such despair over there. I mean, there are people like literally kind of like starving over there in Yemen, and they're picking a fight. Come on. Man, I wish that I knew how to do that port. I really do. Let me see. Nana MT, thank you very much for the super sticker. You're very kind. Thank you. Hey, McBean, Scottish Fitness is in the house. How you doing, John? Good to see you. JT, you made it. Hey, JT, I'm heading over to Grayman's now. Okay, so we'll see you over at Grayman's, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you all come on over. If you've never hung out at Grayman's, or if you don't even know who Grayman Prepping is, come on over. We're gonna have a good time, and you'll be able to meet Grayman, who's a really good man, and I consider him my good friend as well. So hope to see you all there. All right, let's see. Yep, we got to sign off. I'm going to go ahead and do the outro, but I'm not going to be shouting anyone out because I literally have to log into my email and all that stuff and go hook up with Grayman. But I'll do my outro. All right, so we'll see you over there, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you in case some of you can't follow through, but God bless you all. If I don't see you over there, then we'll see you on Friday's live stream. you.